Hello and welcome to our brand new podcast, the CANAS Podcast, where we are going to talk about Canadian athletes in sports as well as Canada's sports teams. My name is Victor.
And I'm Celso.
And we are going to be talking to you every week about the Canadian happenings in sports, I guess. Super pumped about this idea, Celso.
Yeah.
Like, this is especially starting it off this year after everything that Canada's done in sports. Oh my gosh. So let's start off. Leylah Annie Fernandez in tennis. First off, Leylah is not the only big name in tennis right now, which is absolutely incredible. In regards to Canada,
Oh, definitely, yeah.
well, we have Leylah Annie Fernandez, who just played in her first ever Grand Slam final, which is a big deal because before her, only one other Canadian has made it to the final. That was Bianca Andreescu 2 years ago, who happened to win the U.S. Open. Unfortunately, destroyed by injuries, I guess. And then on the men's side, like, who do we have on the men's side? We got
Denis Shapovalov.
Yeah, Chapeau's huge.
Yeah.
Felix Auger-Aliassime.
Yep.
Gotta say that with a little bit of a French accent, though. Otherwise, yeah. And then even like the older guys, like Milos Raonic, like he for the longest time was a face of men's singles tennis.
Like Canadian tennis too.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I meant Canadian. I mean, come on, like we got bigger names in tennis, but still, it's pretty huge. He made it to Wimbledon semifinal or final, I think, back in the day.
Back in the day,
man,
yeah.
He was killing it, man. Like, tennis is absolutely massive, and then now this last year on Leylah Annie Fernandez, historic run to the finals. Like, it's absolutely incredible.
Just beat top seeds left and right, man. All on our journey to the finals, yeah.
It has to be the toughest road
yeah.
to the final in history. Like, third round she didn't play anybody seeded below the 16th seed after the third round, which, I mean, right now it doesn't seem like too much, but she beat the reigning U.S. Open champion and number 3 seed, Naomi Osaka, who was the number 1 seed for the longest time, in the third round. Fourth round, Angelique Kerber, 16th seed.
Yeah.
However, she was another former U.S. Open champion and former number 1 player in the world. And then the next round was Svitolina in the quarterfinals, and then semifinals, 5th seed, 100% 5th seed. And then in the semifinals, beats like a monstrosity of a human being in Sabalenka. Did you see her serves?
No, I haven't.
Her serves were absurd. It was, oh my god, dude. Like, those serves are going 100 plus, 115 miles an hour, I think, at some point. Like, oh my god.
It was scary. Yeah.
And then Leylah is just, having fun, just not doing, like, just returning all of them and just crushes her.
She's like, I'm just going to beat you and make my way to the finals.
Yeah. And then they were all 3-setters, so she must have been pretty...
she was probably tired.
Probably exhausted from that. But, like, what an incredible learning experience. Hey?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Like, this is not going to be the end for her.
Oh, no, she's just going to improve from this tournament and probably make her way to the finals in the next Grand Slam.
What do you think is her highest... Like, what's her high potential?
Probably won, like, a couple Grand Slams during her career.
I think so. Because, like, I'm watching her play, and... She's so strong in just like the forehand, the backhand, like they're just such solid hits.
Yeah.
And she paints the line quite well, but she like plays up to their opponent's level, I find. What did her in the final, and this is nothing against her by any means, because the fact that she even made it to the final is absolutely incredible. The people she beat to get to the final is outstanding.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But her serving. I think she needs a little bit of work on that serve. She's only going to improve. She's only going to get bigger and stronger.
She's only 19 years old.
She just turned 19 years old. Oh, my gosh.
Like, what, 6 days ago?
Yeah, on Monday.
6 days ago, yeah.
She turned 19 on Monday. But yeah, her serve. I honestly feel that is probably the weakness in her game. Because in the final, when she eventually ended up losing to Raducanu, her second serve, Raducanu was hitting just winner after winner off of those. It's just she was moving him off, and being a lefty in tennis is a huge advantage in the sense of like not many people are used to playing against lefties. I just feel that she can move it a little more, because whenever she consistently would hit pretty much at the baseline. So like the other player would have to be so far ahead. And like in the final, she hit some outstanding drop shots too. which is what you do when you continually attack and attack and attack and push them back. Then they're expecting the far hit, the long shot, and then you just hit the perfect drop shot like a foot away from the net. Oh my god. She's gonna be so good.
She's gonna be good.
You know what my favorite part about yesterday though was? Not that it sucked that she lost, right? It sucks. But actually, fun fact: do you know that Raducanu was born in Toronto?
No, I haven't known that. No.
Yeah, so a Canadian-born player won. She's British, whatever. But we can still claim her. Like,
oh, yeah.
Why not, right?
Technically, she was from Canada, so
yeah. But my favorite part of yesterday was her speech in the end. She gives a speech and all that kind of stuff, and she finishes it off. I'm obviously going to paraphrase a little bit here, but she finishes the speech off with something along the lines of, "Thank you, New York. The resilience and strength that you've shown over these last 20 years, I hope that I can one day be as strong and resilient as you." Like, what class, man. Unbelievable class. I think the fact that she played with such class and such poise just I've personally made me unbelievably proud.
Honestly, she just improves her game and just plays well. She could probably be the face of women's tennis, probably.
Absolutely.
Definitely in Canadian tennis.
100%.
Canadian women's tennis, but women's tennis probably in general as well.
So I actually think with her, and if Bianca Andreescu can play healthy and be healthy for more than a solid 2-week stretch, Canada can win some big international trophies in women's tennis.
Oh, definitely.
That's huge. This is not an understatement by any means. We have two different finalists in the last 3 years in the women's draw of the U.S. Open. And before that, we had no one, ever. Woman or male.
No.
So, what do you think, then, the state of Canadian tennis is right now?
Oh, with all these young players, like the ones that we named, like Shapovalov, Fernandez, Andreescu, all the young people that are wanting to get into tennis are more likely going to just want to play tennis even more. And, yeah, the state of Canadian tennis will definitely improve from these group of young kids that we have playing right now in the pros.
When you think of the oldest Canadian tennis player right now, Milos is getting up to his 30s and that, but of this group of 4 elite players, the oldest I'm pretty sure is Chapo. He's 21, 22 years old.
Yeah.
How ridiculous is this? Canada will win a major in tennis in the next 2 years. We'll have at least 2 more. I think, 100%. If Bianca, if they all stay healthy, but Bianca I think is my favorite to win another major.
Another major, yeah.
I think the women are more likely to win than the men, if we're going to be honest with you right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think Chapo and Felix still have a lot to improve.
But they still have
Medvedev and Djokovic are at a level that is significantly higher than anyone else in the world right now. So, the women are just improving so much every single year, and they're now at the highest level of women's tennis, which is an outstanding level. Unbelievable how they're playing right now. To think just how many, 10 short years ago that nobody was even blinking an eye at women's tennis. No. And now it's just, it's one of the biggest sports here in Canada because of just how incredible our women have been doing.
Yeah, I think, a couple of years ago, we only had, just Bouchard, I guess, as, the only, women tennis player that's from Canada. And now we have, Andreescu and Fernandez just coming out of nowhere pretty much and just showing everyone that Canada is starting to be a tennis country.
Yeah, and that's just talking about singles. Thinking about doubles, we have Daniel Nestor, who's one of the greatest doubles champions in the history of tennis on the men's side, and then Gabina Dabrowski on the women's side. Two more incredible, genuine. Nestor's obviously since retired. Yeah. But even in doubles, Vasek Pospisil has taken that role on the men's national team into the doubles aspect. He doesn't necessarily play because, in the big tournaments, when they bring back the Davis Cup, the Davis Cup, when they bring it back how it used to be.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Felix and Chappell can both beat each number 2 seed, I think, in the world. It's just about beating the 1 seed, and our doubles has to get it. But, like, legit chance. And then the female version of the Davis Cup, I forget what that thing's called. Anyways, the women have a legit chance. We have one of the top doubles players in the world, and then 2 of the top singles players in the world. Yeah, we have a chance.
We have a chance.
Yeah.
Definitely, we have a chance.
Oh my gosh, tennis is incredible right now. It's just so many incredible athletes, so much talent getting up there. But then, like, that's not just the one sole sport that Canada's dominating in right now. Like, or Canada's doing well in right now, I guess. Like, let's go, like, shift over to baseball. We're talking about a Canada team now in the Toronto Blue Jays, the only baseball team based in Canada right now. Unfortunately, it's the way our Expos, but anyways. And this weekend series against the Baltimore Orioles, like, I mean, I guess the Orioles kind of, like, they're a terrible team. Let's not even kid ourselves. The Baltimore Orioles are absolute garbage, okay? But for whatever reason, they've been giving the Jays problems. And they lost the first game of the series 6-3. Second game of the series, they're down 10-3 with like an inning and a half or 2 innings left. And then they come back to win 11-10 with the 2-run homer in the end.
That was crazy.
That was insane, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, I wish I put money on that. I would have made so much money off of that. And then the very next game of the doubleheader. So for those of you who don't know, MLB doubleheaders are now capped at 7 innings. Unless it goes to extra innings, and it goes more, obviously, right? Because you can't tie a baseball game.
Yeah.
But they stop at 7 innings now. So then these guys are at the top of the 7th, so they're playing away, so they're batting at the top of the 7th. They're down 1-0, have not gotten a single hit yet. And then what happens? Oh, yeah, 14 hits in the inning, 11 runs. Like, what is happening? And then this morning, we're playing against the Orioles again in the last game. By the 3rd inning, we're already up 14-3. 2 grand slams in the first 3 innings. In the 3rd inning, 14 batters reached. Or, like, batted. 14 or 15, I don't remember what it is.
So almost went throughout the rotation twice.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
And then our one poor bugger got hit twice in, like, pretty sure the same inning because he just got batted twice again. Like, it's just so brutal.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The Blue Jays are really, really fun to watch.
Yeah. Is this the best rendition of the Blue Jays you've seen in a while?
In a while, yes. More fun to watch, too.
Yeah.
Like, just with Bo Bichette, obviously Vladdy, Teoscar Hernandez, all those guys just playing super well. Right now, they are tied for the last wild card spot, but because of the tiebreaker against the Yankees, we do have the last wild card spot. If we keep playing like we're playing right now with like against the Orioles, we can definitely make the playoffs.
Oh, 100%. Like, I think right now, our biggest... So, we have the best offense in the league, in the major league. It's not even close. Like, we're first in home runs, first in RBIs, first in batting average or, like, slugging. The biggest issue that we have right now is our pitching. Personally, I think our team in 2015 is better than we have this year. Our offense this year is significantly better, not anywhere close. Like, the best overall offensive team that we're going to see in years across all the majors. Like, 1 through 9. Like, you start off with, what's-his-face, Springer. And then you go to Marcus Semien, who is currently in the top 5 in both home runs and RBIs in the league. And then you go to Vladdy Guerrero, who is currently in the midst of challenging for that triple crown with number 1 batting average, number 1 in home runs now tied, and then 3rd in RBIs. But that's going up with this 22-5 current demolition of the Orioles.
Yep.
And then, so that's 3. Then 4, you have Teoscar. Then you have Lourdes Gurriel Jr., who they're all hitting a stupid amount. And then you have Grichuk. And then you have 2 catchers that are just playing stupid. And then we have this Lamb guy who's like just filling in, just playing fun, just to have a good time. And we have Dickinson and like overall from 1 to 7.
Forgot about Bichette.
Bichette, sorry. Yeah, absolutely. Bo Bichette. And then once Cavan Biggio comes back, Biggio, who's one of the better, like, just hitters in baseball, really. Like, from top to bottom, offensively, no team in the league matches up to these guys. In either AL or NL, no one in the major leagues. But pitching-wise, that will be the downfall of this team, the pitching. Because you can out-hit people, but at some point your bat's going to dry up a little bit, and you need the pitching to get you through it. That is why I think this team isn't as good as 2015. We don't have as much offensive firepower in 2015 than we did now.
But we did have.
But we had Donaldson, Bautista, and Encarnacion in the middle three. But the pitching was insane.
Oh, pitching was insane.
We had Marcus Stroman, who was playing like a legitimate ace. Dickey, who for some reason no one could hit against him somehow. And then we had Mark Burley, Aaron Sanchez, Osuna closing. This team right now, give me 2 more real pitchers, and they could still be in the system, you know. Our star closer got injured in spring training and was out for the year. Could you imagine if we had him? Then we had Romano slip from the closing to the 8th inning spot. And then we have Merriweather that was doing really well until his injury from the 8th to the 7th spot. Like, we just need our starters to go 6 innings. And at that point, you know, just get some more starter help and then we're set.
Then, just improve slightly on our pitching and we can probably legit, like, win our division. And then
100%.
have a really good chance of winning the World Series.
First off, the AL East is probably, in my opinion, the toughest division in baseball. That or the one where the Dodgers and the Padres are playing right now, the NL. Like, those are probably the 2 toughest divisions in all of baseball. But man, this Blue Jays team is fun to watch. It's so much fun to watch. Like, there's very few low-scoring games that they're going to be a part of. Like, in this weekend series, they had, 3, and then 11, so it's 14, 22 already today. Like, 38. And then what did they get yesterday at the night game? Like, they've already broken their single series record.
Yeah, they won 11-10 for the first part of the doubleheader, and then 11-2. So they had 22,
44, 47 runs in 4 games in a weekend. I mean, it's the Orioles, but like, come on, dude.
Like 47 runs in 4 games and counting. Like,
that has to be a record.
Yeah,
has to be up there. Definitely the Blue Jays record, but that has to be somewhere close to an MLB record. But then going on to the Blue Jays, because I mean, it's a Canadian team, but it's not many Canadians on the team. You know, I think there's I don't even think there's a single one anymore. There used to, but not anymore.
Not anymore.
Let's go to something that it's strictly only Canadian, the Olympics. With respect to the Olympics, what do you think was the biggest medal won by Canada in the Olympics?
Honestly, for me, probably the decathlon. Probably Damian Warner just breaking an Olympic record, breaking a national record, and just basically just winning gold for that event. It's pretty huge because being good in 10 events is very tough.
I think, didn't they say that the winner of the decathlon is considered the greatest athlete in the world?
That's what I've heard, yeah. Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. 10 events that you have to be good at. Like, and not just good, you have to be, like, great. Yeah. Like, world-class great. Yeah,
like,
it's absolutely
literally
incredible.
just have to be a jack of all trades of, like, all the events, pretty much.
That's fair. You know what? I didn't even think about that. I was thinking of, like, the fact that DeGrasse has now won a medal in 100 and 200 meters in each of the events.
Don't get me wrong, like, that
was a big one.
That's a big
100%.
one.
Personally, for me, being a soccer fanatic, buddy, the gold medal that the Canadian national women's team won, because soccer in the Olympic for the men, the best players don't compete in that. It's 23 and under, and you have the ability of having 3 overage players in that team. So the greatest players in your country do not actually represent you. Plus, throughout the Olympics, there was like different World Cup qualifiers, or like the Gold Cup, or like Nations League, like a bunch of those kind of games that were still going on. So like the best men weren't able to actually be there. But the women, the best women in the world, were able to be in the Olympics. And the fact that Canada beat the U.S. in the semifinal, first off, that was huge. Our first win against the States in over 10 years. Like, that was absolutely incredible.
Make it to the final?
Just to make it to the final.
Yeah.
And then the final, Canada winning on penalties, and then coming back to win, not just that, coming back to beat Sweden, who took them out of the last World Cup. And Canada's first, I mean, they won the Gold Cup, but I don't really consider that like a major, major trophy.
Yeah.
This is Canada's first ever big trophy in soccer.
Like, they did win bronze in London and in Rio.
Yeah, but that's not the championship trophy.
No.
Right? Their mantra for this year was change the color of the medal. And then they get to the semifinals against the U.S. And I'm going to be straight up with you. I love our Canadian women. I have so much faith in them, and I genuinely believe that they are world class. However, heading into that semifinal against the U.S., I think we're equally decent teams, but U.S. at their best can beat Canada at their best. But the fact that Canada was so resilient, defended like ridiculous, dude. They were so good defensively that game. The U.S. had so many chances, but they were from outside. Stephanie LeBay stood on her head, and she deserves to have a statue of her resurrected everywhere across Edmonton and area because she is homegrown from Edmonton. Which is not, you can't really say that much.
We'll just put a statue, beside Wayne Gretzky and
100%.
By
100%.
Rogers Place, yeah.
I hope that they have. I genuinely hope that they do have that victory parade across all of Canada, like they were talking about, because that team is, for one day, we were finally united in this country, with everything going on, man, all the politics, COVID, everything. For everything going on, those group of women united every single last one of us. And that is huge. Just the way that they played, absolutely outstanding. Like, there was so much pride in that team. And then this is like history in the making. Like, Christine Sinclair has finally won a major trophy. And this is the greatest international goal scorer, male or female, in the history of soccer. And she's Canadian. A soccer player that is doing well is Canadian.
Never expect a really good soccer player, men or women, to be from Canada.
Right? Like, no, you don't expect it at all.
Latin American countries like Brazil and their players, or like Germany or Spain and their players. But Canada, you don't really think good soccer players come from Canada.
Do you think this now cements Christine Sinclair as the greatest female soccer player of all time?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she just needed that one trophy.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's such class, too. So, and that's another thing, right? Like, Layla was absolute class in defeat and in victory. Christine Sinclair as well was absolute class in the semifinal when she won. The first thing she did was go and hug her Portland Thorns teammate and consolidate her. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what? Great match. Great match. I'm so, sorry, essentially. Sorry we won.
Sorry for beating you.
But, yeah, and that's the first thing she did. And then she wins. Man, it was so fitting. It was so fitting that it was, she was subbed off and, pretty late on in that game. And, she was just in the sidelines. But she was watching the generation of women that she inspired to get into soccer. How insane is that? Julia Garoso, who got the winning penalty for them, she sat and watched Christine Sinclair in London play that game, and she's like, yeah, I want to play now. Isn't that, I want to represent Canada. I think she was already playing, but she's like, I want to represent Canada. This is insane. Christine Sinclair was watching, essentially, her children, play in front of her. Oh my gosh.
Crazy.
And another fun fact. So this summer for Canada has been incredible in regards to, titles and everything. And our women hockey team won the first world championship in in a while. Which, you know what, hockey we're supposed to win. It's Canada, we're supposed to win everything in hockey.
Yeah.
But their first title in a while was really nice. So that was a big one. The first 14 medals in these Olympics won by Canada were all won by women. 15th was Andre DeGrasse. The first 14 medals were all women, that won it for us. Oh my God, dude. They're carrying this country's sports scene. Incredible. And then the soccer team winning, and then Leila Anís-Fernandez's incredible run to the U.S. Open final. This summer's been dominated by women for Canada. That's awesome, man. I genuinely love watching these athletes play. It's just so much pride in watching them. Which now I guess brings me to the last question, the last topic we'll talk about today. So every year they present Lou Marsh Award, which goes to the top Canadian athlete for the year. Previous winners were Christine Sinclair, Sidney Crosby's won it, Just name
Alphonso
a couple.
Davies.
Alphonso Davies, I think, won it at some point.
Yeah,
He
last year.
shared it. Yeah. Who do you think? Give me a top 3 of who. That doesn't have to be necessarily in order, but who do you think wins or deserves a Lou Marsh this year?
So one of my top 3, obviously, the lady that we've been talking about like the last few minutes, Christine Sinclair, just winning gold medal in the Olympics, just finally getting that big one that she's always been trying to get. Honestly, just being a big part of like just Canadian soccer throughout her career. Obviously, would be a really good like heartwarming award to give to Christine Sinclair. Getting her second one would be pretty cool. Another one I mentioned earlier in the podcast, Damian Warner, winning the decathlon, breaking Olympic and national records, becoming the 4th decathlete to score more than 9,000 points in the event.
9,000 is absolutely incredible.
It's crazy. Like being also getting the honor of like being the flag bearer for the closing ceremonies.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty nice. Would also be like a nice, wholesome award to give to Warner. And one athlete that it would be pretty cool to give to just after the season he's had, and in a shortened season, mind you, in the NHL, Connor McDavid getting 33 goals, 72 assists, 105 points in 56 games. Like, seriously? Basically on pace to get 159 points if he played like all 82 games. Would have been 9th all time if he was able to play 82 games. Next closest Canadian athlete, Brad Marshad, only getting 69 points.
Which, I mean, is respectable. In a 56-game season, 69 points is pretty fantastic. But it's nowhere near Connor
McDavid. He would be like the latest hockey player to get the Lou Marsh since Carey Price in 2015. Mm-hmm. And then Crosby in, I think, like 2009, I believe.
I think he got it the year that he got the golden goal. Didn't he? Well, we can fact check that at some point. Another point, that's totally fine. But
still, like,
yeah,
to get 105 in 56 games, it's just crazy.
It's ridiculous, dude. Like, I don't know if we're gonna see another hockey player like McDavid in a really long time. I think he is the greatest player since Lemieux, and I think Lemieux is so unbelievably underrated. How good he was because of all his injuries. Absolutely, you know what? Your 3, fantastic. I very much I think I agree with just one of the choices because there's just so many athletes that we can celebrate right now.
Oh, definitely.
But I'll agree with you, Sinclair. I don't think Sinclair had her greatest Olympics. Both her Rio and her London Olympics. Her London Olympics, she was like the greatest player in the world at that point. Like, absolutely incredible. This year wasn't anywhere really close. However, the fact that she was the face of Canadian soccer, not just women's soccer, Canadian soccer. When I was growing up playing soccer, I freaking idolized her. Like, I was playing games when I was, man, like 10, 12 years old, and I'm like, oh, man, this Christine Sinclair chick, man, she's pretty good. Like, that's, like, I want to be able to be kind of like her, you know? Like, there was no Canadian men that I could watch that were actually anywhere near the level of looking up to somebody at that point. Like, we got a couple of decent ones, but, like, nothing like as good as Sinclair.
Christine Sinclair, yeah.
And I think the fact that she has developed soccer this much in the country and that it finally paid off in our women winning a gold medal, that's huge. Absolutely 100% I think that she should get a consideration. She would probably be my number 3 choice. Penny Alexiak is another one.
So that's swimmer. A good one. Yeah.
Penny Alexiak broke Canadian record for most ever medals in an Olympics overall, just total. She tied it with 6 after the relay team got a bronze, I think. And then she won it the very next event she competed in. And she's still only in her early 20s, if that. Like, she has an opportunity to genuinely get so many more medals throughout the course of her career. And it's only up for her. It's only up. She's only going to get bigger. She's only going to get stronger. She's only going to get better at swimming. Alexiak is, I think, somebody who just... I don't know if she gets enough recognition that she deserves because it's swimming. So, swimming isn't a naturally popular sport, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And then my number one is back to soccer, actually. I credit this woman for getting us this gold medal. Because she scored the winning goal in the semifinal. She scored the tying goal in the final that brought us to penalties. And she scored the our first penalty in the penalty shootout. Jessie freaking Fleming. So, I don't think she had that many goals. But the fact how clutch she was.
No, definitely.
And how much pressure does this young woman have on her shoulders to score those goals? Like, we had one shot in the whole U.S. game. And it was because Jessie Fleming scored on the penalty shot. Like, she goes up to that penalty spot knowing, like, man, if I don't score this goal, we're not scoring today. Unless it's, like, in the shootout. Like, genuinely, that has to be what's going through her head. Like, not necessarily that, because she's probably more optimistic than my negative Nancy self. But, like, she scores that huge goal against the U.S. And then we get another penalty, which Christine Sinclair fell in the box and got tackled in the box. So Christine Sinclair got the penalty, and then it was Jessie Fleming who took it. She scores that one. And then Sweden goes up in the penalty shootout, misses their first one. Jessie Fleming's like... has to score so we can go ahead. Sure enough, she gets it. Like the whole team deserves a lot of credit. Like Julia Grosso deserves credit. Stephanie LeBay deserves credit. Like all of them. Like just Kadisha Buchanan deserves credit. Like all of them really deserve a lot of credit for this trophy.
But unfortunately, we can't give it to the
whole
whole team.
Of them.
Yeah.
If they could, I hope they could. Are you kidding me? That'd be insane.
That'd be cool.
But can't give it to everyone. However, if I'm going to single out one person for being clutch in the most important moments, and probably the most important moment in the history of Canadian soccer, let alone women's or Olympics or anything, in the history of Canadian soccer, there has not been two bigger penalties than the ones that Jessie Fleming took.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with your choices.
And even then, there's just so many, like Andre DeGrasse winning gold in the 200 meters. Winning in the 100, 200, and 100-meter relay, 2 consecutive Olympics, winning medals in all of those. That's huge. Damian Warner, exceptional athlete, is the greatest athlete in the world right now because he won the freaking decathlon.
And broke the record.
And broke the Olympic record, absolutely. Like, there's just so many people. I do not pity the person responsible for Lou Marsh. I swear to God, I don't.
Honestly, any person that they pick deserves the award, but
do you think if Layla won the U.S. Open, she would have been considered?
Probably, yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah. I would think if she did win the U.S. Open, she would be like up there in like the voting for the Lou Marsh Award.
Yeah, this is gonna be an absolutely insane year for the Lou Marsh because there's just what we picked. We chose 5 different people. We both agreed on Sinclair being in the top 3. But we chose 5 different people. Like. And even then, there's still dozens more, like Marie-Philippe Poulin.
Oh, yeah.
Her role in bringing gold back to the World Championship for women's hockey. Like, that was huge. Like, oh, my God. What a time to be alive in Canadian sports
in general, yeah, no.
Like, this is truly remarkable. And then the NHL season's coming up. We have 7 Canadian teams that, like, you know, that should do good.
Should do good. So, bias with Edmonton, obviously. We're gonna make the playoffs. Prediction.
We better.
Oh, no, yeah, we better.
If we miss the playoffs, I swear I'm going to be so angry. Like, so mad. What do you think of the additions we made this year? Duncan Keith is my favorite one. Everybody rips on it. I actually love the Duncan Keith signing.
Duncan Keith is good. I do like the Hyman signing.
Hyman's huge. I like Hyman. I love the signing of Nuge. The re-signing of Nuge. I don't like... So, I like how he made him long enough contracts of the AAVs down, so we have chances this year and next to, like, you know,
go for it.
However, I don't like the term for either one of them. But
I love Nuge, so that's okay.
That's really besides the point. But and I'll tell you why Duncan Keith's my favorite signing. Okay, so yes, he comes in an AAV of like 5.1 or something.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot. Okay, as of right now, he's now a second pairing NHL defenseman, which 5 point something is still a lot to pay for that. I think the intangibles that he brings to this team is something that we've missed, like dearly, dearly, dearly missed. His leadership, his championship pedigree, his work ethic, all of that he brings in. And nothing against McDavid, Draisaitl, Nurse, any of those guys. Nothing against them. But genuinely, I think Keith is the piece we needed.
For our defense?
For our team. If Keith is in our team against Winnipeg, we don't lose that series in 4. We don't lose the series at all. That veteran leadership back there and just the experience of teaching the kids, hey, this is what you need to do to win in the playoffs. Nobody else on the team has that experience. We just don't have the leadership. McDavid is trying. All of our core is trying. Nurse, he's developed in leadership and his tenacity and everything. But until you win in the playoffs, you don't know how to win in the playoffs, right? You don't know what it takes. Yeah, sure, we won one series. One series 4 years ago. That's nothing, really. Anyway, I think this brings us to the end of the show this week, of our nice first ever pilot episode of CANAS. That's pretty exciting, man. This is going to be exciting. There's so much stuff we're going to do. So, in the coming weeks, no particular order, but in the coming weeks, I think what we're going to do is we're going to do a really fun little fantasy hockey draft of only Canadian NHL players. We'll predict the Canadian Olympic roster in hockey. We have a couple big tennis tournaments that will be coming up in the near future as well. Hopefully, we'll have that Canadian soccer parade. We haven't even talked about the Canadian men's soccer team that are currently qualifying for the World Cup.
Right now, I think they're second in the...
Yeah, we're second right now.
Second in the group?
Yeah, in CONCACAF. Yeah, behind Mexico and just in front of the U.S. in goals for. Yeah, that's huge. So next week, we'll talk about the men's soccer team. Just because we missed it this week, so whatever. We'll talk about it next week. They're not going anywhere.
Over here.
And then we'll talk about hockey. We'll bring that up a little bit more. The Blue Jays will be further in their run. They have a massive series against the Rays and then the Red Sox coming up. That's going to define them. Yeah, that's going to define their postseason likelihood. And then, we'll carry on from there. Well, this has been awesome, man. Thank you for coming out today, and we'll do this again.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely, for sure.
We'll do it next week.
Perfect. All right, and we'll see you guys back next week.